Hi guys, it's Krista Adama. I am a realtor in the Illinois land area as well as your favorite landlord. Definitely wanted to hop on this video to talk about CHA, which is Chicago Housing Authority, or other people may know it as Section 8. I definitely want to talk about 3 pointers, and I can go on and on about like their process and, you know, updating you guys, letting you guys know what it is. But these are 3 tips that I feel like a lot of people don't really know when it comes to Section 8 or CHA vouchers, and I hope this is very informative. Okay, so the first thing that a lot of people don't know is that the CHA process takes a while. At its fastest, it may take a month, but what I usually see talking to like my coworkers and my own process, it takes about a month and a half. So it's not like if you find a person that has a voucher and they like the place, they can automatically move in. There's a lot of processes that take hold within that month and a month and a half period that needs to be done. So it's not like, oh, you like the place and they can move in next week. That's totally false. It usually takes about a month to a month and a half to that process to actually be complete so that tenant can actually move in. The second thing that a lot of people don't know is that Section 8 does not always cover 100% of the rent. Now, I do want to say that there are some cases where that tenant may not be working, or they may not have like consistent work. So meaning that Section 8 will more than likely pay all of their rent and may also give them a utility voucher check as well. But that's not the case for everyone. So don't think that if someone has a voucher, that means that it's going to cover all of their rent, because that's not the case. So I have people that I do know that sometimes they pay 50-50. Sometimes CHA or Chicago Housing Authority pays maybe 80 and the other person pays 20, or it flip-flops where CHA voucher pays 20% and they pay 80%. So don't think just because they hold a voucher that means that the whole rent will be paid for by that assistance program. It really just depends on how much income that tenant is bringing in, and then that actually figures out what that or how much is going to be paid on which end, on either end. Now, the third thing that I learned while researching, you know, just with my day-to-day job, because I'm a realtor and I also help people find apartments and find homes. But the one thing that I learned and that I was like about was that CHA Section 8, they can come and look at your property, and while they're going through that process, that month and a half process, they can look at your rent and say, nah, like this is too high, and we think that a better rental rate will be, let's say, $1,300 instead of the $1,500 that it was initially listed at. And they usually get their figures by looking at comparable homes in the market to get their number. So they can say like, hey, you've been waiting for, let's say, a month to get this specific tenant in your rental unit, and now we think that your rent is listed too high, and we think that and a more appropriate number would be $1,300. Will you reduce your rent to $1,300, or you can deny that tenant? And then you would eventually have to make that decision. But yes, you, just because your apartment is listed at $1,500 doesn't mean that CHA is going to provide that $1,500, especially if they don't think that it is actually worth that $1,500. I know some landlords, they create secret agreements with the tenant to say, okay, Section 8 is only paying $1,300, you can just give me the $200 extra on the side. I would highly advise against this, because if CHA does find out, from what I've heard, is that you will kind of be banned from the CHA program, meaning that you can't accept vouchers. And I don't know about you, but I have a long life to live, and I know that I'm going to come in contact with people that have vouchers, and I don't want to stop being able to receive people who hold vouchers in my early age, when this is like a forever thing for me. So I would really highly go against coming up with any side agreements for rent. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Also, I do want to add that, let's say your tenant, so let's say you already have the tenant in there, they've been there for a year. So let's say they've been there for a year and you're like, hey, I want to increase the rent. You can fill out a rent increasal form, but Section 8 can look at the market and say, hey, within this time period, the rental rates have actually gone down. So although we were giving you $1,300, now it's actually worth $1,200. And you can either accept that new rate, or you can, you know, tell the renter that they have to, like, you know, leave because you and Section 8 have not agreed on that rental amount. And I did not know that, because always when I did my research, I heard that, okay, yes, the rental amount, you can request it and it'll go up. But I've never heard that it has the possibility to go down. And when I went to a CHA seminar, I learned that, and I was like, oh wait. And that made me think, like, you know, it's not just submitting a form and hoping for the best. You really have to do your research, look at the comps to ensure that, hey, that number is priced correctly within the market, and you can defend those numbers. Because if they do disagree with the number that you have listed out, you need to bring your comps or show them your comps, so that you can kind of verify your numbers. So that's another thing that you definitely need to know about Section 8, as well as their process. Hopefully I didn't scare you guys. And a bonus tip that I will give you towards CHA Section 8 is that while going through the process, your apartment can be denied. So there are a list of requirements that CHA or Section 8 has, and if it does not meet your requirement, they can either deny you or they can pass you. There are certain things that if it's like small things, they can still pass you, but you just need to make those fixes. But there are also elements where if it's like major things, then they're not going to pass you and you need to make that fix. Like, for example, one thing that I learned is, let's say the outlet, and this is specifically for CHA housing, but the outlet has to be, I think, 18 inches or further away from the sink, meaning that if that outlet is 16 inches from the sink, they are not going to approve your apartment. Or let's say if there's a hole in like a wall or something, or a gap, they're not going to approve it. So you need to make sure that if you do want to have a Section 8 voucher person go through the process, that your building actually meets these requirements. And if you guys are probably looking like, oh my God, Krista, like, this is like too much, I would encourage you guys to like do your research, go to the website, learn more information about this. But also, when you guys are hiring people to list your apartments, when you guys are hiring you know, just people to take over that process, try to ask them if they know a little bit about the CHA process. And if they do, then that's definitely a thumbs up to definitely work with them. If you guys are in the Chicagoland, Illinois area, I would love to assist. Just let me know, because I definitely want to help you get that best renter for your specific rental. But, you know, do not be afraid of this process. It is a very long process, but essentially, if you know all the tools that, you know, all the things that they need and that they want, you're able to correspond quickly with them to ensure that that renter is able to move in quickly, and that process is seamless for everybody in the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned a few little tips and just little things about CHA or Section 8. I do want to say that although I told you about Chicago Housing Authority, make sure that if you are in a different state, that you do your own research about these specific assistance programs, because it may vary state to state. But if you guys have any questions or concerns, leave them down below, and I'll be happy to assist you guys in my next video. Bye guys.